والعاقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له الملك الحق المبين وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله سيد ولد آدم أجمعين صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه الطيبين الطاهرين على مر الأيام والليالي والشهور والسنين أما بعد. We continue Kitaab At-Tawheed, 7:10 p.m. Sunday, August the 25th. We're still in the 24th of this blessed month of the Hijjah, where it was performed in this blessed month a pillar of the religion of Al-Hajj. The year 1440 after the migration of Al-Mustafa alayhi salatu wassalam, we continue in this tremendous treatise entitled Kitaab At-Tawheed. We start in the new chapter, which is Al-Bab Al-Thalith wal-Ishrun, the 23rd chapter in Kitaab At-Tawheed. It is entitled Babun ma ja'a anna ba'ta hadhihi al-ummah ya'budu al-awthan. The chapter which comes that some of this nation will worship idols. The chapter which comes was narrated that some of this nation will worship idols. They will worship awthan. That they will worship awthan. So this new chapter, you'll find that the great Imam, Shaykh Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab rahimahullah, that he entitled the chapter with this title. I think certain people will probably find strange that this book is a Kitaab At-Tawheed, while the great Imam had mentioned that some of the Muslims from this ummah, meaning from the group or the sects, from them that will worship, but they will worship what? Idols. So this is clearly establishing that what? That just because one ascribes to Islam or professes the religion of Al-Islam, or those who ascribe themselves to the ummah, al-ummatul Muhammadiyah, does not exonerate them or protect them from falling into polytheism, just as what we witness and what we see, and we testify to this fact due to the existence of deviant sects who have fell into what the Messenger of Allah ﷺ clearly warned against. So just because one ascribes to Islam, it also brings us to another understanding of this title. If one wants to extract a benefit, this title, Ya Ma'ashal Ikhwa, what is it? I want one to understand clearly that the great Imam is talking about the Muslims. He's talking about the Muslimun, Ahl al-Islam, Ahl al-Millah, yani Millatul Islam. The people who ascribe and practice Islam. He's talking about them. He says some of this everyone, this ummah. So also, if you want to add another benefit, to let everyone know that just because he's Muslim does not mean that he's practicing the religion correctly. That's also a benefit extracted from this title. That just because one is Muslim does not mean that he is practicing the religion correctly. And that's a lot. There are a lot of Muslims out there that ascribe to the religion of Islam, and they're practicing customs or customary affairs or traditions that clearly are in opposition against the religion. And you'll find that certain Muslims will say, well, that's from the religion. In actuality, it isn't. And that if what is worse than that, which is what they practice of ibadah, of worship, what they draw close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by. So this title clearly shows that Ahl Ilm, from those who are upon, from the scholars of the past, and what the great Imam himself, Shaykh Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab, What he put in the title of this chapter, Ya Ma'ashal Ikhwa, is to clearly establish that just because someone says they're Muslim does not mean that what they are doing is correct, nor what they are practicing is correct. He clearly put in the title that some of the people of this nation, of Al-Ummatul Muhammadiyah, they will worship idols. They're Muslim even though they're worshiping idols. Is that right? Is that correct? It's incorrect. And despite of that, the great Imam is as if he's saying just because there are people out there who are Muslim does not mean what they're doing is what's correct. But notice that the great Imam, from his diqqat al-fahm, from his deep understanding in fiqh and understanding of what he extracted from all these texts that we're going to explain, inshallah. He said that some of this nation, meaning al-Ummatul Muhammadiyah, from the followers of those who profess La ilaha illallah wa anna Muhammadur Rasulullah, he said there will be a group from them who will be saved. If you understand and look at the title, it says some of this nation will worship idols. Meaning there will be a group who will avoid worshiping idols. So there will be a group that will what? Still stand for the truth, and they will still remain firm upon the truth. Because we know the athar, or the narration that the Messenger of Allah ﷺ clearly mentioned said, La yajtami'u ummati ala dalala, that my ummah will never gather upon misguidance. They will never gather and unite upon misguidance. We know that started with the Sahaba. As the companions of the Messenger of Allah ﷺ, them gathering upon an affair and uniting or agreeing upon a religious affair especially is considered a proof and evidence in our religion, which is called ijma', the consensus of the Sahaba. As the ijma' is a proof. Where the Sahaba gathered upon a religious affair unanimously, it's called the ijma'. Ijma' meaning consensus. And that consensus, what is considered with us, is the consensus of the Sahaba. Likewise, those who come after the Sahaba, after the first 3 generations, who came later, after them. What the Ummah will never gather upon is misguidance. There will always be a group that will always stand for the truth. There will always be a group that will stand for the truth and never gather upon misguidance or compromises or any affairs that will be a result of the humiliation and disgrace of the Muslims. And from those affairs, like we said, is the worship of idols and affairs of polytheism and affairs of innovation and the likes of that. The Ummah, there will always be a group that will stand for the truth and they will never agree with that. And they will always uphold what the Messenger of Allah ﷺ and the Sahaba were firmly upon. That's the reason why you'll find that he said clearly in the title, what everyone, some of this Ummah will worship idols. Because there will always be a group from the Ummah of Muhammad ﷺ, لا تزال طائفة من أمتي على الحق منصورة لا يضرهم من خذلهم ولا من خالفهم حتى يأتي أمر الله. وفي رواية لا تزال طائفة من أمتي على الحق ظاهرين لا يضرهم من خذلهم ولا من خالفهم حتى يأتي أمر الله وهم على ذلك. Because there will always be a group that will continue, meaning the Prophet ﷺ clearly said, from my ummah, that will be upon the truth, aided and given victory, meaning they will remain firm and steadfast upon the truth. No one will harm them who lets them down or who opposes them or abandons them until the affair of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes. And in another narration, لا تزال طائفة من أمتي على الحق ظاهرين. There will never cease to be a group of my ummah ظاهرين. They will be triumphant. They'll be triumphant. They'll be successful, victorious. Then it says at the end of the narration, until the affair of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes. Meaning at one point in time in this dunya, as we know, ya ma'ashal ikhwa, they will be removed. The people of the truth will be gone, and also the book of Allah will be removed, and the sunnah will be removed, and the people of the truth will be gone. So the affair of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is the extent of when the people of the truth will cease to be non-existent on this earth. Along with the book of Allah and the sunnah. All of them will be removed. The book, the Kitaab, the sunnah, and the people of the truth will be gone. Once they're removed, then that's when the day of resurrection will commence. As we discussed this in a couple of classes, probably months ago, or probably a couple of weeks ago. I'll say about a month ago. We said that the people of the truth is the meaning of the hadith where it says, until the affair of Allah comes. So the Prophet ﷺ gave an extent where there will be a time where they will what? They will go away. The affair of Allah will come, as we discuss, everyone, is that wind that will what? Emerge from Yemen. It will come and it will take the souls of those who have Iman. It will take them and it will not be left upon the earth except the most wicked of creation. Who the shaitan will inspire them to commit polytheism. And they also will start to commit murder and shed blood, and shyness will be removed until they will be committing abominable acts in the road of all types of abominations and acts of intercourse in the roads without any shyness. So the day of resurrection will be what? Established upon the most evil of creation. But the point of the matter is, ya ma'ashal ikhwa, before that time comes, there will always be a part or group of the ummah of Muhammad ﷺ that will avoid the worship of idols. And they will never partake in that affair, and they will avoid them, and they will remain firm and steadfast upon the truth until the affair of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes, which is the last days in this world, where the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be raised, and the sunnah will be removed, and the people of the truth will be removed. And that will be the final days of this dunya, and upon that, that's when the day of resurrection will commence. So you'll find that the Musannif, the great Imam that he mentioned, has said that the sum of this ummah. So that is to show that he understood not all of the ummah will be misguided and they will worship what? Idols. Because worshiping idols is misguidance. Worshiping idols is misguidance. And it is a form of what? Of what is incorrect, and it opposes the religion. But this is to let everyone know how the great Imam, in his deep understanding, that he was not hasty in writing titles, because he knew that the titles of each chapter had some type of fiqh in it. So if you just look to his titles, you find that it contains some type of understanding of what we gain from the titles that he wrote, if you notice. And that's similar to, if you go back to the Sahih of Imam al-Bukhari, rahimahullah, you'll find that a lot of his anaween and a lot of the different headings in the Sahih, you'll find that there's a lot of fiqh of what Imam al-Bukhari had in those titles that he made in each what heading of each title in the chapter, that it contained fiqh, it contained understanding. That a lot of the ulama that they pondered on and they extract fiqh from just the titles. Similar to that is here. In this book, you'll find Kitaab At-Tawheed, just from the title, you extract fiqh from it. As you find, it says that some of the ummah will worship idols. Meaning that there will be another part of the ummah that will remain firm upon the truth. And there will be another part of his ummah that will be misguided. To let you know that there still will be polytheism that from the ummah of Muhammad that they will fall into. So just because they're Muslim does not mean they're protected. Meaning they also can fall into misguidance. And that they will fall into errors. Not only just errors, but major errors. Such as the worship of idols, which is the most hideous, like we said, and most abominable sin that any human being could commit. And as we'll discuss, how the Messenger of Allah ﷺ, all of this chapter is pertaining to how this ummah will imitate the people of the book. And in their resemblance to them, they will fall into major errors due to them being amazed at the people of the book and those who the Messenger of Allah ﷺ has said about his ummah will follow eventually. As this all comes in the chapter. So we want to lay this down before we start reading the text. So the reason of the ummah, another reason why he's going to clarify why they went astray and fell into polytheism, is because them being amazed at the people of the book and following them and resembling them. And following them and resembling them. And you're going to find that will come to light as we read some of the texts, especially the ayat of what he brought and the evidences that he brought in this chapter. So it says here, so you find, like we said, just to gather up everything, keep it concise, I don't want to go too deep. But it says here that some of the ummah, you extract fiqh to let you know, like we said, there's going to be people of the truth. You extract fiqh from just the title. For the person that truly understands, they extract this type of fiqh and understanding. Then in the title, you understand that not all Muslims who say they Muslim are what? Practicing what's correct. Am I right or wrong? You gain all these different types of fiqh just from the mere title itself. طيب. So you find that the great Imam, he was not hasty in writing these titles, and that these titles contain benefit. Another thing, ya ma'ashal ikhwa, you want to extract from this title, another benefit from this, the title itself, the great Imam that he wrote, is to show that not all of the ummah are declared kuffar. Not all of the ummah or the nation of Muhammad ﷺ will be what? Will become kuffar. In contrast to the people of takfir of these days, or the people of declaiming Muslims to be unbelievers, from the people of takfir, where they said there's no Muslims these days, everyone is kuffar. There's no Islam left, there's no masajid that are upon true correct Islam anymore, and there's no Muslims anymore. All of the masajid, or the marakiz, or everything that the Muslims have established, all of them are ma'abid jahiliyyah. All of them are establishments of jahiliyyah, meaning they're not Muslim. You'll find that there are deviant sects from out there that make this claim, that there's no Islam anymore, that Islam is gone, that all the masajid and the establishments of the Muslims are all ma'abid jahiliyyah. They're all places of what? Misguidance, and that they're all jahili, meaning they're not upon Islam. So this title with the great Imam that he wrote also is a refutation against them. To say that Islam will what? There will always be a group, and there will always be Islam that will be maintained, will be upheld by the people of the truth. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? So it's a refutation, a rebuttal against those who claim that all of the Ummah Muhammad ﷺ will be gone, and all of them are upon kufr, all upon disbelief, which agrees with the people of takfir, what they say these days, especially from the followers of those who've been affected by the books of what they call al-kutub al-mashbuha, those books that are filled with ambiguities and misguidance that incites and instills in the minds of the Muslims takfir, of declaring Muslims to be unbelievers, and that their blood and their honor and their families and their loved ones, all of their blood is lawful and it's permissible for us to kill them and shed their blood. That is the ideologies of the people of takfir, and those you will find that they utilize as what they rely upon is the books of al-kutub al-mashbuha, the books that are filled with ambiguities that instill in the minds of the people ideologies of takfir. And from them is the books of Sayyid Qutb, especially, that they utilize these books to declare the Ummah of Muhammad that they're all kuffar. That all of them are what? All of them have disbelieved and they left the fold of Islam. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? So this title is to show that there will always be people that will what? That Islam will always what? Exist, and that there will always be what, everyone? There will be always a group who are upon what is correct. Not everyone is going to go astray, and not everyone is going to disbelieve. You understand, everyone? There will always still be a people who are upon the truth, and that Islam will still be what? Present. And it will never go away until the affair of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes in the last days and times, when the day of resurrection will be established. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? طيب. So he said, يَعْبُدُ الْأَوْثَانِ, that they will worship awthan. We talked about the word awthan, that is the plural form for what, everyone? Wathan. We said that the word wathan, we said this and explained that the meaning of wathan is what? Wathan is what is put in the image, put in the form of an image or other than an image. It could be a rock, a tree. It could be a hayawan, insan, hajar, shajar, shams, to the end of it. It could be a rock, tree. It could be in the form or image of a man or an animal, or the sun, the moon, the stars, whatever it is. All of them are called what, everyone? Othan. In contrast to sanam or al-sanam, in most cases, sanam is what's been put in the form or in the image of a human being or an animal. So al-wathan is more general, and sanam is more specific. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? So al-wathan could be a human, it could be a jinn, it could be a human being, it could be a rock, tree, the sun, whatever it is. That's a wathan. And sanam, like we said, in most cases, it is put in the form or the image of an animal or a human being. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? طيب. Also, you'll find in this title that the great Imam is refuting the Muslims that make the claim that the Ummah of Muhammad ﷺ will not fall into polytheism. Because there are Muslims out there that said, the Ummah Muhammadiyya is ma'asuma min ash-shirk. That the Ummah of Muhammad ﷺ is protected from polytheism. They will never fall into polytheism. You'll find that there are Muslims out there that make this claim. All shirk is gone. Polytheism is gone from this ummah. We don't have to worry about that anymore. So you'll find in this title, he also laid down the reality. And I think everyone could testify and see to everything that takes place of misguidance, especially in those Muslim countries, where you find that they grave worship and worship what? They worship the dead. That they worship the dead, and they even worship people who are alive still. And some of them worship people who have passed, whether they be from the righteous or they be from the wretched. Which is to clearly show that this ummah, that there'll be people from them who will fall into worshiping idols. Even though it's not in the name of what the Christians or the people of polytheism fell into, but they do it in the name of so-called Islam. But the method of what they're doing is still what? It's still the same. It's still considered polytheism, even though it might be a prophet, or it might be someone who is righteous, or it might be someone who is wicked. As some of the graves of which is in Egypt, who they worship, who was a Sufi Shi'i, who was al-Badawi. Al-Badawi was a Shi'i Sufi. So some of them they take and they worship. Some of them are righteous, and some of them are people who are known for wickedness. But at the end of the day, just because they have a Muslim name or they were Muslims, still what they are practicing is still at the end, still polytheism. Even though they might cover it up with what? A Muslim name or Muslim practice or looking Muslim, it's still considered polytheism. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? طيب. Notice if you look in the ayah, after he's laid down this foundation or he's laid down this affair, let's move to the first ayah that he utilizes as an evidence to substantiate what he used as a heading. So now as you look to the ayah, as it says, أَلَمْ تَرَ إِلَى الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا نَصِيبًا مِنَ الْكِتَابِ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْجِبْتِ وَالطَّاغُوتِ وَيَقُولُونَ لِلَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا هَؤُلَاء أَهْدَى مِنَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا سَبِيلًا أَلَمْ تَرَ إِلَى الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا نَصِيبًا مِنَ الْكِتَابِ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْجِبْتِ وَالطَّاغُوتِ. So now he used the ayah, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in his book, do you not see to those who be given a portion of the book? He said that they believe in al-Jibt, and they believe in the Taghut. And they say to those who disbelieve, these are more guided than those who believe in their way, or in their method, or in their belief. Keep in mind what I said in the beginning of the chapter. What did I say, everyone, before I inaugurated the lesson, or beginning of the lesson? I said that you'll find that the great Imam will use ayats that's talking about the people of the book. Why? Because I already said it about 8 minutes ago. That the reason why they will fall into following idols is out of what? Resembling the people of the book. So you notice that he's bringing ayahs talking about who? The people of the book. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? So notice he's using ayats that's speaking about the people of the book because the Messenger of Allah ﷺ knew that his ummah were going to fall into affairs that clearly oppose the religion of Islam, especially what is the quintessence of all of our affairs, what is based upon, which is Tawheed, that the reason why they are falling to these very, very serious matters is out of resemblance for the people of the book. So that's the reason why he started mentioning this ayah, saying, do you not see those who've been given a portion of the book? So he's talking about who, everyone? The people of the book. He said that they believe in Al-Jibt and At-Tawheed. And they say that to those who disbelieve, they are more guided than those who believe in their way. طيب. So this ayah was talking about first the Yahud. It was talking about the Yahud. It was talking about the Jews. It was talking about the Jews. When the Messenger of Allah ﷺ, when he migrated to Al-Medina, we know that Medina was occupied by three famous tribes of the Jews. The first tribe was named Banu Nadir. Banu Nadir, bid-dad, not dha. Dad. Banu Nadir, with a ra at the end. Banu Nadir. Then you have Banu Qaynaqa'. Oh, I got to write this on the board. Banu Qaynaqa', with a ayn at the end of it. Banu Qaynaqa'. Banu Qaynaqa'. And then you have Bani Qurayza. I'll write it on the board later. You have Banu Nadir, Banu Qaynaqa', and you have Banu Qurayza, who are the three famous tribes in Al-Medina from the Yahud, from the Jews. So the Jews used to occupy Al-Medina when the Messenger of Allah ﷺ, when he migrated to Al-Medina, there were Jews who occupied the territory at that particular time from these three tribes. It was the three main tribes of the Yahud. طيب. From the heads of the Yahud, one of them, his name was Huyay ibn Akhtab. Huyay ibn Akhtab. Akhtab with a ta. Huyay ibn Akhtab. And Ka'b ibn Ashraf. Ka'b ibn Ashraf. Ka'b ibn Ashraf and Huyay ibn Akhtab, they were from the heads of the Yahud. And especially Ka'b ibn Ashraf. Ka'b ibn al-Ashraf was a Yahudi. He was from the heads of the Yahud, if not the head of them. طيب. As we know also from the characteristics of the Yahud, that they used to participate and indulge and partake in a lot of magic. They used to partake in a lot of magic, in a practice of a lot of magic. They used to partake and practice what, everyone? A lot of magic. You'll find that they also used to take their affairs back to the people who knew the unseen. They used to take their affairs back to them. And they used to indulge in magic. So they used to heavily partake in magic. The example of that, as we know, the Messenger of Allah ﷺ, practice was done upon him by an individual named Labid ibn al-A'sam. He was a Yahudi. He was a Jew, and he was the one that what? He was the one that was considered the head of the Jahmiyyah. Heads of the Jahmiyyah. The heads of the Jahmiyyah goes back to Labid ibn al-A'sam, who was a Jew. And he was the one that did magic upon the Prophet ﷺ. Labid ibn al-A'sam. Al-A'sam. Labid ibn al-A'sam. Labid ibn al-A'sam was Yahudi. He was a Jew who was accused of doing magic upon the Prophet ﷺ. Then who came after him was Talut. No. We'll start the isnad is like this. You have Jahm ibn Safwan. Then Jahm ibn Safwan, you have before him Ja'd ibn Dirham. Then before Ja'd ibn Dirham, you have you have Aban ibn Sam'an, I think it is. Aban ibn Sam'an, then before him was Talut, then before him was Labid ibn al-A'sam. That's the isnad of the deviant sect of the Jahmiyyah. I'll say it again. The deviant sect of the Jahmiyyah was propagated by Jahm ibn Safwan. Then you have Jahm ibn Safwan, who came before him was Ja'ad ibn Dirham. Then before Ja'ad ibn Dirham was Aban ibn Sam'an. Before Aban ibn Sam'an was Talut. And before Talut was Labid ibn al-A'sam, who was the Yahud, who was the one who was what, everyone? He was accused of doing magic upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Did sihr on the message of Allah. He did magic. So let you know that the Yahud, that from their practices was what? That they used to heavily be involved in practicing what, everyone? Magic. They used to be practicing what? Magic. So the Yahud were heavily involved in it. If you look to their history of what happened, even before, during the time of the prophets before, that they were still involved heavily in sihr and magic. They were heavily involved in magic and they were known for this for years. So this was something, the affair that was established from their practices. طيب. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked about how they were given the truth. They were given a book from what was sent to Musa. Excuse me. Yeah. Oh, all right. I got it. طيب. So the Yahud were given a portion of the book. They were given of the truth, meaning they were given knowledge. And despite of them given knowledge, they were misguided based upon knowledge of what was already established. So the Yahud had ilm. They had ilm of a certain affairs, of what they were supposed to avoid, they're not supposed to practice. And they still fell into affairs that opposed what they were upon of what Allah gave them of the truth, even though they had ilm. Because the ayah clearly says, if you look in their book, they were given a portion of the book. Look to not those who were given a portion of the book. And it was talking about the Yahud in this particular ayah. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was reprimanding them, because those who were given a portion of the book, that means that they have the ilm. They have some knowledge, which is incumbent upon them to work by it, to implement it. So them opposing the truth, even though they had the book, this was a clear evidence and proof to show the severity of their kufr, the severity of their disbelief, and the severity of their stubbornness. So they had some of the truth with them. And despite of that, they did not work by it. And that's the reason why we know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described them as being maghdubi alayhim. That Allah's wrath and anger fell upon them. Why? Because they had knowledge. They had knowledge in which they did not implement. Rather, not only did they were the misguided, they misguided others, even though they knew in the back of their mind what was correct. And they knew what was established and they believed what was what? What was correct. So it came as a result of it, like we said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's wrath had descended upon them. Notice Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about them, even though they had a portion of the book and some truth, they believe in al-Jibt. They believed in al-Jibt. Jim, ba, ta, Jibt. What is the meaning of Jibt, everyone? You'll find that there's a lot of tafasir for the meaning of Jibt. The meaning of Jibt, the word Jibt itself, has a lot of meanings. From the meaning of Jibt, we'll talk about inshaAllah, is sihr, magic. They believe in Jibt. And we just established that the Yahud, that they used to be what? That they used to practice and be heavily involved in what? In magic. They used to believe in magic. Not only a sihr, but they used to also be sahara. They also be magicians. And they also practice magic. That's one of the meanings of Jibt. One of the meanings of Jibt is shaitan. One of the meanings of Jibt is al-kahana wal-kuhan. Is people who claim to have knowledge of the unseen and those who practice it as practitioners, from crystal ball readers or what have you. People who claim to have knowledge of the unseen, who read people's palms or what have you. That's also meaning of the word what? Jibt. It's also the meaning of the word Jibt. Another meaning of the word Jibt is a sanam. We just talked about the meaning of sanam. Sanam. And another meaning of jibt is shirk, polytheism. Which one of these meanings are correct, or all of them correct, everyone? All of them are correct. Every example that we gave, all of them are what? Correct. Whether it be magic, whether it be sorcerers or magicians, or kuhan, people that claim to have knowledge of the unseen, from crystal ball readers, or fortune tellers, or soothsayers, or whoever. All this is a type with the meaning of the word jibt, as we discussed. And the Yahud used to what? Be heavily, and they used to partake in all of these matters. They used to heavily partake in all of these matters. In magic, sorcery, claiming and dealing with people who have knowledge of the unseen. They were all heavily involved, or all of them were involved in these matters. So it says that they believe in the jibt. And it says that they believed in what, everyone? The Tawheed. They believed in the Tawheed. Oh, I'm sorry. That they believed in the Tawheed. What is the meaning of Tawheed, everyone, quickly? What's the meaning of Tawheed? Please do not just say false idols. False idols, give me some more details. تفضل استغفر الله. That's a kashif, but a Salih. Sabir. Astaghfirullah. Say it again. That's a type of Tawheed. That's from examples of Tawheed. What's the meaning of Tawheed? That's another example of Tawheed. What's the meaning of Tawheed? 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 False deities. Tayyib. Tawheed, what's the meaning of Tawheed? Someone that's worship along with Allah. It's a Tawheed. I can't say that's wrong, but that's not what I'm looking for. Everything that the slave transgresses the bounds in, from what is worshipped, obeyed, or followed, is a Tawheed. Everything that the servant transgresses the bounds in, or exceeds the bounds in, from what is worshipped, followed, or obeyed. At the head of them is 5, as we discussed. What's the first one? Shaitan is a Tawheed. If you worship the Shaitan, you worship the Tawheed. Tayyib, number 1, number 2. The one who's worshiping, he's pleased with the people worshiping him. That's number 2. Number 3, cause to the worship of him, of himself. It's a Tawheed. Number 4, who has knowledge, who claims to have knowledge of what? The unseen, Tawheed. And the one who judges or the rules by other than what Allah has revealed, is a Tawheed. Generally. Tayyib. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that we know that there are other Tawheed, they're other than this. There are other Tawheed that are other than this. From them is what, everyone? For example, the belief in what they call majaz. The belief in what they call metaphoric meanings in Kitaab and Sunnah is also a Tawheed. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? There's others, but this is at the head of the Tawheed, Shaitan, من عبد وهو راض من دعا إلى عبادة نفسه من ادعى علم الغيب ومن حكم بغير ما أنزل الله فكل هذه تواغيد وهلم جرة. هناك تواغيد كثيرة أكثر مما ذكر ولكن على رأسهم 5 وهي مجموعة في هذه الخمسة التي ذكرناها الآن. They all, at the head of them are 5. The first one is what, everyone? Shaitan. The second is what? Is worship, who's people are pleased with him worshiping. Third is what? One calls to the worship of himself. Number 4 is what? The one who claims to have knowledge of the unseen. And that is in regards to everything you see. Of crystal ball readers, fortune tellers, soothsayers, line drawers, numerologists, all of that. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? numerologists or what's they call that? Those magazines, Astronomers, I think they call it. What's they call it? The people who predict that the day of resurrection is going to be tomorrow. I'm asking you. I think it's called Astronomers. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think somebody online will correct me. Correct me if I'm wrong. Astronomers, when they come out with these magazines and say that the day of resurrection is going to be tomorrow. That's all claiming to have knowledge of what? The unseen. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? All these people, it's impermissible to listen to them or to go to them or to ask them anything. There's only one exception to the rule, and that's only for the person who has ilm, that basically want to go to them to establish their falsehood. That's the only exception. But other than that, if you go in there with the intention because I want to know something about my life, whether or not my life is going to be good, or that my life is going to be good this month, or whether or not I'm going to be I'm going to be lucrative in my business, and that and you read out your palm, your line say that you're going to have a nice love life for the next 3 or 4 years, then it's going to go down the drain, and then you're going to be miserable for 3 years, then you're going to be tested. If you go to these people, you have what? Believed in the Tawheed. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? If you do this, you have believed in the Tawheed, and you have also disbelieved in what is sent down upon Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. فَمَنْ أَتَى كَاهِنًا عَرَّافًا فَقَدْ كَفَرَ بِمَا أُنزِلَ عَلَى مُحَمَّدٍ. ومن أتى عرافا أو كاهنا ومن يدعي علم الغيب فقد كفر بما أنزل على محمد. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? طيب. So notice that the Yahud, that they used to be involved in all of these affairs. They used to be involved in all these matters. So the Prophet, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, during the story what happened now, we're going to get back to Ka'b ibn Ashraf. Somebody call you there? Okay, call, Amir, you want to call it in the office? Or Amir out here? Not going to do it for me? Huh? Did you say? Oh, okay. Oh. The one who judges by other what Allah has revealed. You guys need to have these memorized. So a person calls you Tawheed. What's the other type of Tawheed, everyone? What I talk about all the time. Democracy. Democracy is a Tawheed. Democratia, Tawheed. Tawheediyya. Other than what Allah has revealed. Other than what Allah has revealed is comprehensive for liberalism, شيوعية, liberalية, ديمقراطية. كل هذه الأمور تعتبر إيش؟ طواغيت، نظم طاغوتية. يجب الكفر بها. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. اللهم حي ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. الله أكبر الله أكبر. اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آتي محمد الوسيلة والفضيلة وبعث مقام محمود الذي وعدته. طيب, the one who judges by other than what Allah has revealed, and we know that's comprehensive for every type of system or government or nuzum or protocol or regulations or any laws that runs the land or governs the land. If it's other than what Allah has revealed, then it is considered a what, everyone? It's a Tawheed. It's obligatory to disbelieve in it. Obligatory. And your iman is not valid unless you disbelieve in it. Your iman is not sound unless you disbelieve in it. Other than that, you have subjected yourself to some type of what? Discrepancy in your belief system. Where it could be a reason of why you might slip when you are asked the questions in the grave. Because you didn't actualize this, what? This affair. This affair is not easy, brothers and sisters. These affairs you'll find a lot of people falling into. And it's from what will validate your faith, which is disbelieving the Tawheed. But however, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala clearly mentions, it says, what, everyone? That from the affairs of what happened with the Yahud is what? That they believed in what, everyone? They believed in the Tawheed. So you just do not say that it means false deities and that's it. Is it clear what I'm saying? You have to explain it. It's everything that the slave or the servant transgresses the bounds in of what is what? Followed, obeyed, or what? Worshipped. In light of what Ibn al-Qayyim that he mentioned, the meaning of At-Tawheed. And also giving examples, as we said, is shaitan and the worship of the devil, or the worship of shaitan, or the worship of a person who's pleased with the people worshiping him or her, or calling to the worship of himself, or claiming to have knowledge of the unseen, and the last, like we said, to judge other than what Allah has revealed, of what contains of all those other different types of systems that you'll find that the Muslims in these days and times are involved in, from democracy or liberalism or socialism or capitalism, whatever it is. All these systems, like we said, Ya Ma'ashal Ikhwa, is not what is correct, and if one is to involve himself in it, is very dangerous, where he's embracing the Taghut, or he's believing in it, or he's aiding it. And all these affairs are very what? Very dangerous upon the Iman or the faith of one. طيب. So it says now, the story of why this ayat was revealed returns back to those two individuals from the Yahud. Who was who, everyone? Huyay ibn Akhtab. And who? Ka'ab ibn al-Ashraf. You have this written down? Ka'ab ibn al-Ashraf. That they went to Ahl Makkah, and what happened? They wanted to seek some help from the mushrikeen in order to rid the message of Allah, in order to get rid of the message of Allah and his companions. So now you'll find that the mushrikun in Mecca, when the Yahud from Medina came to them, they said to them, you are the people of the book. They were polytheists, and they said to them, you are the people of the book. Meaning you know the truth from falsehood. You know the truth from falsehood. So clarify to us, are we more guided or Muhammad? Are we more guided or Muhammad? So then they said, وَمَا أَنْتُمْ وَمَا Muhammad. Who are you in comparison to Muhammad? بَيِّنُوا لَنَا صِفَتَكُمْ وَصِفَةَ مُحَمَّدٍ قَالُوا مُحَمَّدٌ صُنْبُورٌ مَبْتُورٌ قَطَعَ أَرْحَامَنَا وَنَذْبَحُ الْكَوْمِ يعني الكوماء يعني ناقة سمينة ونطعم الحجيج ونحن نذبح الكوم يعني الكوماء. We'll talk about that. ونطعم الحجيج ونسقي الحجيج ونفك العاني ونصل الأرحام. يصفون أنفسهم بهذه الصفات. ومحمد قطع أرحامنا وتبعه سراق الحجيج من غفار. قالوا أنتم خير وأهدى سبيلا. طيب, he says, and then they said, وَمَا أَنْتُمْ وَمَا Muhammad. Clarify to us your characteristics and the characteristic of Muhammad. So they started clarifying it to them. They said Muhammad, and then he's cut the people, cut their ties, cut their families. Where we what? We keep the family ties. Listen to the lies. And we also slaughter those sacrificial or those sacrifices that are very what? Kawma. Kawma in the Arabic language means a naqa samina. He's like a well-fed she camel. A well-fed she camel that was filled and it's been given proper nutrients. So when they slaughter it, it's very what? It's very what? It's very healthy and wholesome to feed the people. So that's basically what they said, nadhbahul kawm or nadhbahul kawma. So kawma here means like those big animals that are what? That are very wholesome. We slaughter it and we feed it to the who? To the people. We feed it to the people who come for Hajj. We give them drink. And we keep our families together. So they mentioned these characteristics. So upon that, they said Muhammad ﷺ did the opposite. Cut our families. He also did not feed the people or slaughter those what? Those animals where they fed the poor or fed the people or what have you. So upon that, when they mentioned these type of characteristics, they said the last part of the ayah. It says in your books. What does it say? If this is the case where this is your characteristics, the Yahud said, you are more guided than what? Than those who believe. You are more guided than those who are what? Believe. طيب. Now I'm asking everyone. make the connection, the correlation. Why did Sheikh Muhammad Abdul Wahab use this ayah as an evidence in the chapter? Why? Yeah. تفضل جمال. What's the title of the chapter and what's the ayah? Why? Make the connection. It's that simple. Shows that this ummah will resemble and fall into what the people of the past from the Jews and the Christians what? Fell into. That there will be what? There will be from them who will believe in At-Tawheed. There will be from them who will also believe in Egypt. Isn't there Muslims out there that practice magic? And then there are Muslims out there that's involved inside of democracy and liberalism. And there are Muslims out there that's involved in worshiping human beings. And there are people who say that they're Muslims and they call to the worship of themselves. Doesn't that exist? From the Ummah Muhammad, especially amongst the Sufis. Doesn't it exist or it doesn't exist? It exists. There's Muslims out there that practice magic. There's Muslims out there that take their affairs back to people who claim to have knowledge of the unseen. There's Muslims out there that rule by other than what Allah has revealed, that they have adopted the ways of the non-Muslims in their countries, such as liberalism, communism, democracy, to the end of it. Isn't that not exist or doesn't? It exists. Isn't there not Muslims out there that call to what they call hurriya, to liberalism, to be so-called people being freed and liberated, which is the ways of the West? Isn't it not Muslims that call to that? And we know hurriya, that which is of so-called liberation or being liberated, is all part of their system, which is also Tawheed. Liberalism, to free to say what you want, to dress how you want, to act how you want, to say what you want, without any type of what? Without any type of limits. That's chaos. That's not freedom, that's chaos. A person could just say what they want out of their mouth. They could say what they want. They could do what they want. They could dress what they want. This type of freedom with no type of restrictions on it is chaos. People don't even accept that even in their own homes and in their own businesses. Except that everyone has rules and regulations of what you say and how you treat people and what you do. Or else there's going to be problems. Right or wrong? There's limits on everything. And so-called hurriya of freedom of choice or freedom of speech or freedom of all this without any type of restrictions is chaos and it's mayhem. So all these affairs the Muslims have what, everyone? Fell into. And that's the reason why he made this what? The title of the chapter. And that's why he used this ayah as a what? As an evidence. Because there will be people from his ummah that will resemble the Jews and who? The Christians. To the point where the Messenger of Allah even said in the Sahihain, where he said, وَلَوْ كَانَ مِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَأْتِي أُمَّهُ عَلَنًا لَكَانَ فِي أُمَّتِي مَنْ يَفْعَلُ ذَلِكَ. He said, if there was from amongst the Jews and the Christians who would be intimate with his own mother in front of everyone, عَلَنًا, there will be somebody from my ummah that would do that. Out of resemblance to the who? To the Jews and the Christians. Is it clear what it's saying, everyone? طيب. So that's the reason why you're looking at me like crazy. That's the Prophet ﷺ statement. Prophet ﷺ mentioned that. He said, لو كان منهم من يأتي أمه علنا لكان في أمتي من يفعل ذلك. From amongst them, from the Jews and the Christians who will come with their own mother, be intimate with her in front of the people, which has happened to the non-Muslims that do this. There will be somebody from my ummah that would do this. Out of resemblance with who? To the Yahud, the Christians, and from the people of the book, from the Jews and the Christians. Nasallallahu alayhi wa sallam. طيب. There's also another statement. If you notice in the story what happened with Ka'b ibn al-Ashraf, Ka'b ibn al-Ashraf and Huyay ibn al-Akhtab, as we know, Ka'b ibn al-Ashraf tried to kill the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they plotted against him to the end of it, as he was killed. As Ka'b ibn Ashraf was killed by Muhammad ibn Maslama. He was killed by Muhammad ibn Maslama, radiyallahu anhu. Muhammad ibn Maslama was killed at his hands. When that happened, the Yahud became extremely scared. Extremely scared of the Muslims. Very, very scared and fearful. And they started to display reverence and respect, even though they were plotting in the back of their minds of what to do next. But at any rate, what happened, and now we want to bring resemblance of what happens to this ummah. There's people from this ummah that do similar to what the Yahud did with the kuffar in Mecca. There's similarities. You'll find those who are Muslim that go to the people of kuffar or the people of disbelief, and they praise them, and they dispraise the people of what? Who are truly correctly practicing Islam. They are from the Muslims who praise the people or the countries or the lands of disbelief, and praise what they're upon, of their ideologies and their different types of convictions. And they also describe them with characteristics of soundness and completeness and greatness. And they discredit the Muslims and saying that the Muslims, you guys, are still in the times of old. You guys need to come up and be modernized and civilized and all this other nonsense. And they praise the kuffar to the non-Muslims to their face and glorify them and revere them and respect them and talk about how much power you have while they are what? Oh, we don't mess with those people who are what? Still want to be practicing things that is just for the prehistoric ages or the times where people were still riding camels. They still want to be in those days and times, which absolutely one doesn't have to do with the other. If you'll find how they meshed up everything and mixed it together. But similar to what Ka'b ibn Ashraf did with the kuffar against the Prophet ﷺ, it's similar to what some Muslims do these days with the non-Muslims and how they praise them and they discredit and they defame who? The Muslims who are trying to uphold and practice what is correct. Same exact thing. That's also resemblance with the who? With the Yahud, with the Jews and the Christians. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Fine, we'll stop here, inshallah. We got to pray. We're supposed to call the Iqam at 8 o'clock. Any questions about the lesson? Muhammad ibn Maslama. Muhammad ibn Maslama killed Ka'b ibn Ashraf.